So I've been the sponsor for the group for around 5 months now. It stemmed from some reverse mentoring that the board have been going through. I was allocated a mentor from the LGBT community, and I suppose my interest grew from there. So I think the purpose of the exec sponsor for any of the groups that we have across the trust is to A, provide some leadership and some gravitas to what's going on, but really it's there to help unblock and to facilitate the people getting together, having the conversations they need to do, and if they've got challenges or problems, they've got someone who can help unblock them. So I see myself as an unblocker, really. I really enjoy attending the meetings because I'm not chairing them, I'm there as a contributor and I try and help. I think I've had a number of inspirational people that have helped me to put my name forward and to be accepted for the role. I have a lifelong friend who I went through university with, who's godfather to one of my children, who came out as being gay about 20 years ago. But I think more recently the reverse mentoring that we've done as a trust, where we've been mentored by people with characteristics. I was allocated someone from the LGBT forum group, and I think the experiences that person took me through and the insight that they gave me really inspired me to say I think there's more that I could do and I think I could help. So I think I talk about unblocking, so I think I'm there to try and facilitate things. I hope that people feel confident that they can come and attend and feel that there is somebody senior in the room who can provide protection and can provide oversight and can provide support for those that need it. I haven't needed to do any of that so far. We've got a very active group. I think I'd love to see more people coming along to it. Well, in the 5 months that I've been the exec sponsor, I've been to a couple of the group meetings. I've attended some launches of various things. I went to the Gay Pride event in Belper. So I'm happy to do all those things and would wish to continue doing that. So I'm trying to get as many of the meetings as I can do, and where the events are available, I try and get to those too. Well, that may be a matter for the forum rather than for me. I suppose if I produce adequate results and that they feel they're getting the support that they need, then I'll continue. I'm very happy to do it. I do it alongside all the other roles that we all undertake. We all do many things. Very happy to do it, and I'll do it for as long as people want me to do it. So when I think about the barriers to equality, I think about what's getting in the way of people being able to give of their best and give the capable services that many of us all take for granted. And I think unconscious bias is something that I've probably suffered from in the past, where I've not been aware that I may have been taking a prejudicial position or not giving people true understanding about the capabilities and things that they could offer. So I think that's probably a big barrier. I think there's some great work that we've been doing at DCHS. The wheel that I'm holding here is a good example of illuminating the various different characteristics that people have and how we can think about those, and actually we all fit somewhere on the wheel, sometimes in more than one slot. I think so there's a kind of illumination education piece that we need to do, and anything we can do to draw out some of the capabilities that we all have in the right environment is something that we should all be trying to support. So I think the function and purpose of the network group is something that's evolving. I think it's been in existence for quite a while, and the membership of the group has had quite a lot of change over the last year or so. And I think actually as a group we're still trying to find our feet a bit and determine what it is that the group's going to achieve and what's needed to be done. So I think it's actually for the members of the group to determine that. Right now there's a bit about publicity, there's a bit about demonstrating the commitment that we as a trust have to equal opportunities, and I want to help with that. We've been doing quite a lot of work with the Stonewall organisation to make sure we understand what our gaps and opportunities might be to improve. I think those would be the starting points. What I really crave is for allies and members of the group to be coming together as frequently as they wish to provide that mutual support, and I think that's something that we could probably do more of for people who do feel discriminated or let down. We had a very moving session at the last forum meeting that we had, where people told their personal accounts about how their sexuality had affected their lives. And for me, that was really enlightening, but also very moving. So I think it's those kind of things that can help people come to terms with challenges that they're facing, consciously or unconsciously. So it's amazing what a few people can achieve when they put their minds to it. And if I think of Gandhi and the whole challenge that he took on, and the changes that we've seen across the British Empire, decades ago, it's not that I think we're trying to achieve the same kind of Gandhi-esque revolution within DCHS, but I think what the group can achieve is that education, illumination, and enlightenment that people need to have across the trust and across the community more broadly than that. It is a constant source of surprise to me, the fear and worries that some people have around discussing elements that they find very personal. And we're in a health setting, providing healthcare to people. We should be really good at that, and somehow we're not so good at that. So I think the forum is trying to encourage people to have the confidence to speak up and be true to themselves. So I think I would be wanting to be as relevant as possible and as visible as necessary. So I think it's about relevance and talking to people at the right time and in the right place around the various protected characteristics that all the groups are looking after. So in our case, the LGBT group, but more broadly, whether it was BME or long-term conditions or various other things, it's around trying to make the conversations relevant at the right time, and then the visibility will become natural. I worry a bit sometimes around flag waving and thrusting down people's throats, things that they may not be ready yet to receive. So there's something about relevance and visibility being partners, and relevance is probably the most important part to me. So it matters a lot as to why we should have a group. I think I reflect on the latest forum meeting that we had, where two individuals very clearly told the stories that they had experienced in their lives and the actually explicit discrimination that they had received. These are very capable people who have a huge amount to offer, who were being held back from doing great work and living their lives as I have been able to live my life without prejudice for my lifetime. And that's not right. We who work in the NHS, all sit behind the NHS constitution around access for everyone at the point of need, all those kind of things. And yet actually in our daily lives we're surrounded by people who cannot get a fair crack of the whip. I've been very lucky in my life. I've not had, as far as I can tell, any prejudicial behaviours inflicted on me. And to see how badly affected some really high quality people have been through prejudicial effects from other people has really moved me, and that's why it's important. So the group's open to everyone, and there are those who identify as being LGBT or even questioning their own sexual identity at all, and allies of those. So the group is a mixture of all spectrum of sexuality and sexual identification and gender. So it's open to everyone. The purpose of the group is to provide that support to everyone in an inclusive way that allows us to get the best from people. So I think that's a really interesting question that we've talked about it as a group, and I think it's to reach out to somebody who's probably been through that experience before. Very happy for people to reach out to me as an individual, and I can give a very good listening ear, but I haven't been through some of that experience. There are members of the group who have absolutely been through the challenges about coming out and are really good at listening and talking to people about that. So I would suggest the contact details are available through the intranet site, and there's a telephone number you can call as well. I think there's the point is we've got a network of people who you can reach out to at an individual, confidential basis and talk through the experiences others have been through and your experience. So it is relevant at work, and it does matter. There is something about a mature community being embracing of everybody's backgrounds and embracing of everybody's contribution. And where people are fearful for identifying whether it's a sexuality or a long-term condition or some other characteristic that may not be overt and visible, I think that speaks volumes and holds a mirror up to the community that we're part of. So it matters because it's a good indication of the maturity of our community and system, and in our case the trust that we work in. Does that mean that everybody's going to feel comfortable all the time to be talking about these things? Absolutely not, and we're on a journey. But actually it matters because without people speaking up and talking about what matters to them, we as an organisation and as a wider community can't provide the right support, sustenance and opportunities for people that today we might be unconsciously blocking them from. So I think that's where a group can really help, because you will be talking to and meeting and linking up with like-minded people, whether they're allies or people with characteristics that you might have identified as, where you can have that conversation, that support network, and then be eased into a situation where you feel more comfortable. So I think there were three things that I wanted people to take home about the LGBT plus network. It would be, we're open to everyone, so please feel free to come, whether you identify as part of that group or just an ally of them. So open to everyone. I think secondly, we are welcoming and embracing and confidential where that needs to be. So if you are feeling worried about your sexuality or how you are feeling about LGBT plus matters, then there's a safe set of ears and a set of people who you can talk to. And then thirdly, I think it is around championing the cause and ensuring that we are demonstrating a true commitment to equality across the board, because if we can do it for our staff, we're much more likely to be able to do it for the citizens and patients that use our services.